Hi, everyone. Hope that everyone is having good talks for today. My name is Clarissa. I'm from Brazil. I'm here for the conference. I'm working at Uber in Brazil, in the very south of Brazil, as a technical program manager. And I'm also doing my PhD, but it's another discussion here, maybe another talk. But hope to have these, and thanks for having me here, because very well organized conference, so really happy to be here. So our discussion for today will be about expensive design mistakes, and this is, of course, something that we are changing in discussions when we are going to AI and everything that we are having. And let's move forward. If it's working. Maybe not. Let me try. It's not working. Yeah, I'm doing. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here? Let's see if it's working. Yeah, thank you. So, how about my journey? I started some years ago. My career is about quality and testing for a while, development. And right now, I'm at Uber, that is working on having our deliveries aligned among different teams and also with quality in mind. So the discussion about UX is something that we know what customers they need, and right now it moved fast to we don't need UX research. We know what is best for our customers, but when we go to discussions today, when we go to the time that we have analytics, they are not using as expected, and this is the discussion about why. Going to the context of Uber, the scale, it's a very customer-centric app. It's just about how we are delivering things at Uber. We have millions of trips per day, plus 1 million per hour in a lot of countries. So the scale, we are affecting a lot of customers, and UX is something that is really important, and it's one of the centric of Uber. And this is, when we talk about the scale, just to analyze how it's important to Uber, is that this is infographic about New Year trips in 2023. You can see that a lot is happening. So this is why we are affecting customers in general. The takeaways for this discussion today, we'll talk about insights that we have in general about UX and usage, how people, they scan information, they don't really need what we share it with them, and how we can have more clarity to the final users. Talking about intriguing insights here, you can see that, for example, here, we have 16% of the cases, visitors, they give up and leave websites, and they have internet users, for example, here, that prefer to claim Mount Everest and click on a banner. And we are always putting banners everywhere, so because we believe that is a good idea, but when we start to think about how we move forward, we can see, based on data, that is not truly what we need to do. And we have a lot about, usually UX is something that was not the priority in the older days. Right now we are talking about, because we have data that you can see that the money that we are investing, they are really returning to the product. And we have as well, we have these smartphone users, huge majority of them, they prefer to keep shopping if they have a great experience, because if you're in a small screen, we are probably moving out if we are not trying to do different stuff. At least for me, it's something that is true. I am not trying to recover myself a lot if the app is not helping me to do that. People don't read, they scan information, and probably you are doing that as well. We have this is a heat map view about how we have different patterns as humans, and we have different ways of scanning information. I discovered that I'm doing this one. So if you think about how you are doing your scanning, you identify how it's changing. But this is the point that if you have long instructions, or if you're adding a bunch of information, does not matter if you're not putting some very highlights on the information that we want user to see. We need to have call to action, because we need to do recommendations to them instead of them to thinking about that. This is what we need to do in general by this pattern. And when we move forward, this is a real website that you can see that we have highlights, we have images, and you can see that if you have some different colors or bold or numbers, people will move their eyes to this direction. This is the same when we talk about content. We need to have an information architecture that helps users to understand what we are trying to tell them. We have size, colors, we have contrast, proximity, we have alignment, and we have negative space that will help them to understand where we are in terms of the software in the website, and will help them to move and to navigate the website. We can think about that space is not important enough to helping on visibility. It's something that I was thinking when I was reading this. Maybe one space will not help me to understand. But when we go to this example, we see before and after this reframe on New York Times that is a lot more easy to read the latest version instead of the previous one. As you see, we have much more, it's more clean. We have more spacing, negative spacing. We have more alignment that is easy to see the parts of screen instead of one single screen. And the same is here. This is after we have twice releases per week, so this is after, is not the latest one, but you can see the previous version of Uber in 2011, and you can see a more recent one, how it's getting easy in terms of visibility, you experience how you can go to home, work, or you can move forward on have a clear flow, and how to update design can help experience and make you more easy to understand how to use something. When we move to that, people don't read, they scan, and we need to work to have a call to action that we make it clear to the user what we are expecting to them. As you can see here, having a consistent terminology is also important. Uber used to have this call to action that is confirm pickup, and another part of the screen it was collection. So what we need to do here is that we need to confirm, or I need to select two information, and it's important to have this and to make it very clear what we need from them. And test readability, apply numbers, to make clear what we are highlighting here. And don't mix ideas when we are putting information, place one idea in one paragraph. If you go to ChatGPT, ChatGPT is doing it very well, having paragraphs and icons and numbers highlighted, but sometimes the readability is not clear, and we need to have a human eyes to make sure that is working for everyone. And the same is here. You can see that we have different colors and we have different highlights in numbers and buttons, so it's easy to understand what is the call to action and what we need to do here. When we go to this example, we have numbered and bullet lists. We highlight the action and we use image and also illustrations to make sure that it's helping. It's a second way of the user to understand what we are telling them. Here we have the text, we have button, and we have image. That is making it even easy to them to understand. Go. So when we talk about don't reinvent things, when we think about humans, we have our mental models that we are replicating to the software and everything that we are doing in our life. This is why people, they have their own mental models, and when something changes, they are not familiar with, they tend to not use or to be against it in the first moment. So we need to understand and make sure that we are matching the consistency that we have on systems in real world and having these standards applying to other systems that people already saw and recognize instead of recall. I don't need to remember what this button is about. It should be very clear to me. And this is something like the same about models in AI. They are recognizing, we don't need to remember what they are doing. Let's think about this example. When we talk about make it very clear, we have this question: do you or someone you care for have diabetics? And yes, it's a happy face. No, it's an unhappy face. Yeah, is it true? For sure not. So when we are doing something to humans, you need to understand what you are really asking them. Or for example, we have this one that the page, the button of page up, it's in the place of 9 usually. So I can imagine people stuck trying to press 9 and moving back and forward here. So why people are doing this? We need to innovate, but we need to innovate in things that are good enough to human. So not confuse people. A page up instead of 9, you just confuse people, and it's not good enough for usability. This is another example. Facebook changed live feed to the full of news feed, and we had a bunch of Facebook groups asking to go back to what users they are familiar with, because Facebook was thinking that it was the best thing to do without A/B testing, without asking users, so without giving them a chance to going back with the previous experience. So here we have a completely change of the functionality without giving them the ability to move from the previous experience if they don't need, and without A/B testing to see analytics if it's a good or a bad change. So why we are doing this is because someone think that it was a good idea, and we are doing it for everyone instead of testing. There is no point on that. And this is something that navigation should be easy, should be clean, and we need to focus on what we are doing. For example, when we have, for right now I will expose myself a little bit, but when we are going to years, when they're putting our dates of year, and I need to scroll, all new year, I need to scroll more on my year of birth. Why we need to have something that is not easy to do in this way? And for example, here, if you are a website with a bunch of languages, you have a scroller. If you're not letting users typing, it will be kind of a mess just trying to move. And this is the same. This is another good example. Someone had an excellent idea about this, make it very easy to users. I don't know, maybe here you'll not have, this person would be trying to avoid some validation UI, but this is completely a mess. It's not make it clear, it's not make it easy to use. And we need to make it in our software. And this is something that here is a very simple and good example of something that it's working. In this, when we are going to parking, you have the red and the green light that will help you to, in the long parkings, to understand where we have spots. And this is something, these heights, you can see that they inverted because it was something that users, they were asking for a while. And this is the first one that did that based on research and feedback. You see that after that, Heinz started that, and after that we have a bunch of others that they move it, the way that they are thinking about how they are presenting their products. But it was something that was very simple, and people love it. So sometimes it's just to understand a little bit, think about how others are using, and trying to adapt. And here we have a good example for today, because we have this, that we have our icons, and we have something that, if you go into magnifying glass, for example, it's search or zoom. If you have a pencil, it's edit or write. And this is something that this symbol will recognize by historical, but we don't have anymore. So we need to understand we need to have this trade-off about clarity and what we are presenting to the users in the context that we are presenting in the screen, in the flow. It should be crystal clear to them how to do that. And this is a very good example, very good one. This Juicero, it's a very modern juice machine that you need to download an app, and you need to do your juice, and you can program to that, and you have this version that you can set the size, the time that you have your juice, perfect. The point is that but it requires Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. If you have, and the juice machine does not have any button. So if you don't have a compatible version of app, you're not able to do a simple juice. And if you have any problems, any connections, this machine is not allowing users to recover by themselves. If you're not able to download, if you don't have battery, if you broke your screen, you're not able to do a simple juice. And this is the same about QR codes. When we talk about accessibility gaps, if you think about older people, or even people that are not familiar or don't like to, for example, when we are traveling a lot, or if you don't have battery in your phone, or if you don't have internet or something like that, you'll not be able to read a simple menu. So this is something that we need to have a plan B always, and we have a lot of places today that they have just QR code. For example, my mother, when she's trying to eat something outside, sometimes it's not possible, and she told me that a lot of places, they don't have a plan B for that. It's just this, and this is what you need to be familiar with. And when you go to people, and this is aligned with what we discussed, that people, they have limitations. And depending on the goal of your software, your website, or the thing that we are designing to, you need to have it in mind. For example, this is for Kaiser. That is a healthcare system that people are putting their bills or requesting doctor appointments or something like that. So we are expecting to have people with accessibility issues, older people, or it should be very transparent to them how to go and how to do what we are asking them to do. Otherwise, we don't have, they don't have, all of them, they don't have support all the time. So depending on the type of your goal, you can see before and after this alignment. The after, you can see a very clear message, all of them already open, instead of my messenger center that you need to click and go there. Becoming appointments, you can see in the image instead of appointment center, so you have date, doctor, place. So it's much more easy to them to be familiar with that instead of trying to have support. They can use by themselves. This is, we talk about dark patterns that right now it's moved to deceptive patterns. What the industry is telling is that, for example, in this scenario, a pop-up in Amazon, it's pushing to have a premium subscription with hidden the no thanks behind. So a lot of people signed it by mistake, and this was a nightmare for everyone, and it was in the, Amazon needed to pay a lot for that, about legal implications of this decision, but this is one of, that we call it deceptive patterns. So we don't need to push things, people without they knowing what we are doing, to do something that is good for the company, or signing things without understanding that. So you can see that it's not one user issue if we have a lot of people that subscribe it by mistake this. And if you want to see more examples, we have these deceptive design patterns. We have a hall of shame of a lot of companies that did similar stuff just for sake of curiosity, probably because they are big. We have Amazon on top, Microsoft I saw today. I was trying to find Uber. I was not able to, but for sure they are not there yet, maybe. So, but here you can see some examples on that, and it's a very famous website. Good. Here is a very easy software to use as well. So this is another example on Citibank that people approve it. If you go to this website, you see that Citibank transfer, mistakenly, one employee was confused about principal instead of the other fields here. And you can see in this image that about this manual behavior, the Citibank did a huge transfer instead of the real value, because it's not clear for sure. And this is an interesting one. Apple Maps caused a user frustration here, because you can see that Statue of Liberty was not there in the map. And it was promised, based on the brand of Apple, a huge drop in the stocks, because if they missed Statue of Liberty, what they are doing with other things, this is what one of the call-outs from people about this stocks drop. And following this iPhone 5 launch, Apple lost 4.5% of stock's price because this issue was in iPhone 5 launch. And here, probably you know this guy, right? No? It's from Star Wars, one of the people that worked on that. Anton died in this, that was struck by his own Jeep because the confusion about it was not showing. This part was not showing that it was locked. So he moved out of the car to close the garage, and the car hit him because the design of the product was not clear enough. After that, Jeep changed this to make it very clear, to have songs and to do it very clear to the user when it's not locked. Like we have, if you don't have seatbelt, we have a lot of songs popping up around. Right now we have the same here. And it was a very tragic situation, but we need to make sure that when we have these situations, it's going back and we are adapting your products or your designs and having in mind, we are not anticipating everything, but once we have some learnings, we need to go back to our products and adapt. Here is a extreme situation, but we have some small ones that we can adapt based on feedback from the users. We don't need to wait for having a extreme situation like that. People don't care how your product works. This is a reality, and I know that is not a good one because we are thinking a lot about, okay, it's perfect, our connection. We are connecting our Bluetooth, and it's amazing connecting Apple products, but people don't want to think about how things work. This is why most of people, they love AirPods, because it's when you have an ecosystem of Apple, you have everything from the same because it's connected very streamlinely. Don't need to think about, or don't need to click, turn on, turn off, and trying to connect your stuff, and it's easily connected. So we are talking about, again, recognition instead of recall. I don't need to remember how to connect. If I'm using iPhone and I connect my AirPods, it's automatically connected and I have visibility how it's working. And we are doing around 35,000 of decisions per day, each human. So if we don't need to think about one more decision, this is what I think all the night that I need to choose some delivery. Sometimes I'm 1 hour trying to find what I will eat because we have a lot of options and the stores are closed and I was not able to select something. But here's the time it takes to make a decision increase with the number and complexity. At the Uber app, we have 3 decisions, 3 options of product that you can select based on a bunch of features behind the scenes, based on the ones that the trips or past trips and something like that. But we are the average, we are sharing 3 options at the beginning, and you can scroll and select more. So we need to share a recommendation with the users. If they want to go more, we can scroll. But we need to have a way that press select or don't ask them to think about all these options. This is our recommendation. You can go with these or you can select your own. And emphasize an aha moment, that is when you have people, they tend to accomplish tasks 10 plus more times if you have some well done, or if you have something that you can see progress, instead of a bunch of lists that you are not seeing some done it or something like that. You don't have any communication with the user, we are not talking with them. And it's very simple. You can see in this example, you have already seen 4 sessions, well done, or you have a progress, you have a list, and you can see this progress stuff. that I was thinking before that it was not important enough, but when we see this comparison, you can see that it's really important to have. And this is another that ownership of their experiences from the users, not from us. You can see that they can, in this example, they can customize what they want to see based on some predefined information that they are selecting. So they are the owners of their experience. You don't need to think to put them in a place that we are selecting to them. We can recommend, but we cannot select the entire experience. We are recommend some stuff, and based on these answers, we are moving with them. And this is a hard truth, but we are not users. And I was thinking before, I'm using Uber app, I'm the user here. I can select I can decide what is best here because I'm using all the day. But when I was with my colleague using the same app and doing a totally different way than me, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm not the only one and not the one that it's the best one to select the experience to everyone. And we have these situations when they have product engineering, at least at Uber, engineers talking about the technical solution, product is thinking about the experience solution, and they have this back and forward. But usually the person that will define, we have some situations that are the worst situations. The highest paid person's opinion is the one that you count. If you have a director or a VP that you let the team know, this is what you do, and you do that and go back and see, okay, it's not working. But when you have this person making decisions, you can see that they are the worst decisions that we can take. So it should be based on usage and analytics and not the person that is high level in hierarchy, for example. In this example, on Walmart, Walmart asked, would you like Walmart to be less cluttered? And a bunch of users replied, yes, I want. And they selected the sessions that they think that they should remove by their own. Okay, this is a good idea, let's remove this and that. And after this, Walmart lost a lot of money instead of asking open question, that is, what do you think should be changed in your Walmart and what and why? So it's having not direct users to the answer. Let them, you don't need to make them to go into a direction that they are not adding you insights on that. And this is at Uber, this is from our internal system, A/B testing. We are doing a lot. And if it's a small change, it's doing by cities, doing by super users, new users, depending on the age, because every single change is affecting a lot how people are using or not using the system anymore. And here you can see observability. That is something that is really important to see how people are using. This is, with map, it's about trips happening in different places of the world. You can see, and you can see these different colors is A/B testing, depending on the version. So we can compare numbers and have visuals about how it will affect the users when we are applying some change. For example, here is New York, the change, and you can see how it's affecting that. And something that is really important is that what are differences that you can see in this image from the top and to the bottom? Here you can see in the top, it's an image from, it was drawn by Americans. If you go to the bottom, it's from Asian people. You can see from American, they are much more straightforward. they are not putting a lot of perspective that you can see that is much more complete on Asian people, East Asian. You can see we have other nationality, other cultural and other places of the world here in this experience, but it reflects the way that we communicate. They are much more straightforward, and here you can see that we are much more attention to details. And this is something that I learned working in American companies that before I work at SAP, that is a German company, I needed to put, okay, we are changing this process because this, that, and that, a lot of context and going to decision, and this is my proposal. When I did it at Uber first time, one director told me, I'm not understanding your ask. Let's go to one line of context, give me 3 examples, and we'll try, instead of going to a long research to propose something. And this is something that I learned working with that. And this is something that is reflected here. This is a really, really good book, The Cultural Map. And I'm Brazilian, I'm here in the middle. And when the US culture is very low context, very direct, very straight to the point, if you go Japan, China, and go into this side, very high context. If you're working with different cultures, probably you remember how it's different when you talk with each of them. So we need to adapt and to be very straightforward on when you go to low context, communication is precise, simple, and clear. When you go to high context, we are nuanced and we have a lot of layers on that. This is something that I needed to learn by doing, and how to communicate best on my daily activities on that. But one example that you can see is here. Rakuten, we see this Asian version, a lot of colors, a lot of information. You can do everything here. When we go to the American version, it's much more clear. And it's exactly the same one. The same company, the same product, they are doing exactly the same thing. But they are adapting by the culture that they are going through. And this is something, if you go to, relating to Uber, if you go to Uber is launching different countries, some people, they are more in favor to have, some other they are against or not using too much, and we need to adapt based on the communication that you share. If you go to this, when we talk about visual effects, hierarchy, and essential design, we are talking about how to use both numbers and everything to help you to make users to the right point that you need to focus your information. Here you can see that this is something that when I saw the first time, no, I'm not reading this, but in this way, and after, wait, I'm reading exactly in this way. The biggest one you read first, and we are going to the other one, so we can guide the users to the way that you want them to do. Recapping what we discussed today, don't reinvent things for the sake of just reinventing. Let some research behind to avoid mistakes or make people confusing on that. Matching our systems with real examples, and users, they want to recognize instead of recall. We don't need to make them remember what they are going through. You are not a user, and no matter how good we are, this is a set rule, but we are not the final ones that will understand that. And you can see here this very famous, probably already saw in some place of the city. We have a beautiful design that directs people to go here, and the experiences that people are crossing, and they are doing different things, what we expected. And ask the right questions. Focus, remember the Walmart example, focus on the problem, not the solution. Don't ask questions that will influence people. And ask about specific examples. Remember a time in the past that it was a good experience, how it worked, and what you do here. This is something that you collect much more insights. You can combine closed and open questions to have a better view about your research, but they are really important to have a complete view. And I learned the high five, so I just added here. Thank you, I'm here all the days if you want to ask, talk, or let's grab a coffee together. And if this is a very quick survey, I promise. The user experience is very small. It's 3 questions. If you have time, it's very helpful for me to have this answer and see what I can do better, because I believe that the best way is to have feedback on our presentations and our research. Thank you.